Hey, Todd from Tburrier.com. Do you ever struggle with being impatient? Of course, you're human, so the answer would be yes. But you really struggle with it in building your business, right? So I'm going to give you some insight here about patience and the fact that you're always going to be impatient. I mean, this is just a fact. We're naturally impatient, right? Babies aren't patient, right? We are not designed to be patient. And so the point is you need to learn to embrace your impatience and understand that it actually has value. Now, the cost of being impatient and not recognizing that that's just a natural thing is steep, right? It causes people to have a negative attitude, to have bad energy, which affects the way you can work. And then it also causes people to quit too soon. I mean, if you've been in the business for any period of time, you've thought about quitting because you were impatient or you were struggling or things weren't working the way you wanted. And that's actually a good thing. If there aren't periods where you're considering quitting, then you're not working hard enough. You're not trying hard enough. I mean, that's normal for everyone in anything. There isn't anyone who accomplishes anything of significance who doesn't have periods where they're just like, is this ever going to happen, right? Is it ever going to happen for me? And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter what the pace of your growth is, you're never going to be satisfied. It's just a fact. I mean, I've had periods in my career where I had massive and fast growth, and even in those months and years, I'm like, geez, I could have done more. It could have been this, it could have been that. And that's true of everyone I've ever met. It is part of our natural fiber. And so it's important to understand that, because if you understand that you're not ever going to be patient, then you have to learn to be patient in your impatience, because your impatience has a lot of value, right? It drives you. It helps your determination. It leads to growth. It leads to learning, right? It leads to all the good stuff. This is a long game. If you're trying to make money overnight, you shouldn't do it in network marketing, because that causes you either A, to do things that aren't lasting, and B, it may cause you to behave in ways that aren't beneficial long run to anyone you deal with, including yourself. And so I'm going to give you some insight as to the areas that you're going to have to work on, right? And recognize. So, I have many, many friends in the industry and every kind of company you can imagine. And most of them had significant drought periods. Many of those drought periods were in the beginning, right? I mean, I have one friend who became the top female earner in her company, didn't sponsor anyone for her first 6 months. And somebody else, another friend who's been a 7-figure earner, his first 42 people essentially laughed at him, right? I mean, I know myself, it was brutal for a while for me in the beginning. And so that's a perfectly normal thing to take place. And so if you're clear about where you're going to need patience, then it's going to help you out, right? And again, impatience, because you're going to be impatient no matter what I tell you. And so it's okay. It's an okay thing, and you have to recognize that it's an okay thing. So you're going to need to be patient with your learning curve. And that curve is going to have 2 prongs to it. So you're going to have the learning curve of the actual business, because it doesn't matter what you've done in your life. I don't care if you're a doctor, you're an attorney, you're a super salesman, you're a plumber. It doesn't matter. You're good at that thing, but this is a whole new ballgame. And so you're going to have a significant learning curve in every component. I mean, there's multiple competencies that you'll have to develop, and the only way to develop them is to do them, right? You can read about it, you can listen to my audios over and over, but you still have to do it. And until you're doing it, that's where the learning actually happens. So you're going to have a learning curve just like you have in everything else in life. You're also going to have a learning curve in your general people skills inside of the work. And so that's a whole nother component, right? You're going to say the wrong thing tons of times, and you're going to know you did. And you're like, I can't believe I just did that, right? And it's going to happen your whole career. You're still going to have times, no matter how successful you become, we're going to do something and go, I can't believe I just did that, right? That's just part of life. And so it's going to be part of your business. This is a business that reflects life a lot. You're going to have patient impatience in the process. Just like the farmer. You don't see the farmer plant seeds and the next day they walk outside like, hey, where's the crop? How come the crop isn't here, right? Because the farmer knows it's going to take some time. And so the process works like that. You just work the process and trust it because it works. And you can be patiently impatient in it because you know if you do the numbers and you do the work, you will eventually have the fruit. That's just how it works. And then you're going to have patience issues with the growth of your organization. And the bigger your organization gets, the more of an issue this will be for you because the less what you do impacts the organization. That's just classic. And so that's going to be another area. And so those are all really self-oriented. Then there's the others-oriented. You're going to be impatient with the way people make decisions, right? They're not going to make them just like you. They're not going to make them when you think they should because it's about them and not about you. You're going to be impatient with the way people take action, right? Some people aren't going to take action or they're going to want to take action and things come up, right? It's just the nature of the beast. And so you're going to have to be patiently impatient in that environment as it's happening. And you're also going to have to develop some patience, patiently impatient with the way your relationships develop. Because relationships are built on a foundation of trust. But what you don't control, right? You control your own behaviors and your own actions, but you don't control what someone's lens is. You don't control what their life has been like. You don't control where they come from. You don't have any understanding of that backdrop, which, for different people means that they learn to trust more slowly, okay? And so you're going to have patience in that process too. So those are all the areas that your patience is going to be tested. And your patience will fail because you're going to be impatient. But if you're patient with your own impatience, it will really help you. So the two things I want you to take away from this is one, that impatience is actually a really positive sign because it means you care. And so if you embrace that and let it drive you, it can be an incredibly powerful force for you. Most successful people are not patient. They appear to be patient because they grind through, but they're not patient. They want it to happen yesterday just like you do. So that's the first thing. It means you care. The second thing is really huge. Never let your people see your impatience. Never let a prospect see it. Never let anyone in your team see it. Never let anyone you're working with see it. That is not their problem. And if they ever feel that you're impatient with them, that you're frustrated with them, they're going to see that as a selfish thing. They're going to say, oh, you really only want me to do this because you want something from it. You're going to break the trust. And so you can't, I don't care if you got to go outside and scream, if you got to punch a pillow, whatever you got to do it in your own solitude. Don't do it in front of other people. You've got to demonstrate patience with them, even if you're not feeling it. I hope that this was helpful. Feel free to share this message. If you haven't got my 27 scripts that will really help you to consistently sponsor, make sure you go to Tburrier.com and put in your email and get your free download. Okay? That's a free MP3 that you can listen to over and over and over. See you next time.